are already open, and if you want to check it out in stores, that date is April 26th. This guy's going to cost a whopping close to $2,000. It's actually $1,980. You're really, for that price, getting about 2 phones in one, but also the satisfying ability to snap this phone shut like you would a Motorola Razr. One of the things that people were most concerned about with this 7.3-inch display was whether the crease would be visible, and you can tell that there is, but it's not really too obstructive. It's kind of like reading a book that has a folded page. It's not going to prevent you from getting the information that you need. The other issue that people were concerned with is that when this phone folds, it doesn't actually close all the way. There is definitely a noticeable gap. You can actually sort of slide a credit card through. Not really though, because on the right end over here, on the shut end, it actually does close and is held together by pretty strong magnets. In fact, strong enough that prying it open is something you want to definitely try to do with 2 hands. The reason I keep triggering Bixby, by the way, is because my thumb keeps hitting this button over here. This is a fingerprint sensor embedded into the side of the phone, but also is the Bixby button. It is remappable, just like it is on the Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus, but you can't use it to summon other assistants. You can just use it to launch another app, like say Uber or your camera. Size-wise, this is how the Fold compares with the Galaxy S10 Plus on the right over here. It's basically about half of it, but then folded, it's a lot skinnier, but about the same height. And it's called an advanced composite polymer material that the panel is made from, because it's not glass, so that it can bend, and it's not that much different from glass. It's maybe just a little less bright and stunning, but I still haven't really noticed an issue with, screen clarity, save for the pretty obvious crease. There's also a USB-C charging port at the bottom, although you will notice there is no headphone jack anymore. On the side, there are other buttons like the power, the volume rocker. The reason the fingerprint sensor is on the side here is pretty clear. They couldn't squeeze a fingerprint reader under the screen like they did with the Galaxy S10, and probably don't want to put it on the back of the phone to smear up the camera back there. Now, speaking of the cameras, this is a triple camera system on the back here, and it does jut out just a little bit, but we have what here is a similar system to the Galaxy S10 as well, which is we've got a regular sensor that's about 12 megapixels. We've got a wide angle and a telephoto option, both at one at 12 and one at 16 megapixels. We're going to take photos with this over here with the 4.6-inch screen. It's not much that we can tell based off this tiny screen over here, but let's flip over. It's actually quite difficult to maneuver the camera app because of this much smaller screen. If you have fat fingers, it's tougher for you to use, but in that case, you can open up the phone. And there you go. This feature that I just showed you is called app continuity, where if you've used one phone on the smaller screen, all you have to do is open up the Fold and it will launch it in the full screen experience. Samsung did say that this will be compatible with most Android apps, because Android did announce support for foldables as an interface late last year on the time of Samsung Developer Conference. This aspect ratio is also probably going to be great for watching things like YouTube, which let's take a look. So that's where the crease kind of gets a little annoying. It's not as obvious in a dark scene like that, but once it gets to a brighter setting, the crease becomes a bit more obvious. Another thing this aspect ratio is nice for is taking bigger photos. This full screen selfie experience is something I am fully on board with. You can do a wider angle lens with this setup up front. Use live focus if you want to. So basically, the experience we're already used to on the Galaxy S flagships, but Samsung's managed to make it work on a bigger screen. One of the biggest use cases for a screen that's this big is you can split up to 3 apps on it at once and multitask like a pro. You'll notice that these are resizable, but the apps on the right column, you don't have necessarily a lot of room to play with. Overall, the phone feels zippy right now. It's got no problem jumping between a YouTube video, the camera, picture-in-picture. It's just not slowing down yet. It's a brand new phone, of course, and we've not really pushed it very hard either. So it's no surprise that it breezes right by. So this phone is powered by a Snapdragon 855 processor, same as the one that you will find on the Galaxy S10 and S10 Plus. This is also powered by a dual battery setup that has half of its battery on the right side and half on the left side, and they add up to about 4,000-ish milliamp hour on the battery. Now this is a really expensive phone, right? So to protect your investment, Samsung is giving you 2 cases within the box. Now this particular case is made of Kevlar, which should provide a lot of protection, and as you can see, when they're both snapped on, the hinge is still exposed, so it doesn't obstruct your folding or unfolding of the phone. And when you've got it completely open on the back, this is what the